Alrighty, moving on to the next team. Pete, you wanted to bring this team up. It sounds like you got a little bit of an issue with them, and I'll let you introduce this segment.
Yeah, we have got to talk about the Milwaukee Bucks. This is a critical team in the East. I mean, obviously we discussed them a lot leading up to this season in terms of the big Dame trade. I think everybody they were consensus either 1, 2, 3, 1, right in there though. They had to be like a top 3 for almost everybody coming into this season in terms of championship contenders. But man, this team has some real hurdles to jump over, I think, in terms of actually getting there. And I think a lot of that stems first and foremost from a thing that I feel pretty vindicated about. I can't lie, guys. I hate to keep tooting my own horn, patting myself on the back, but I'm going to do it again. And I talked a lot this offseason about, these teams were trying to go ass out for Damian Lillard, right? But there is again, I'm going to go back to my defensive stuff. Damian Lillard is one of the worst defenders in the NBA. He is one of the worst defenders in the NBA, and this team is showing it in it just spades right now because really they are one of the worst defensive teams in the league, which is astounding when you have a guy like Giannis on your team. They have, I think, the 30th transition defense out of all teams in the league right now. They truly have just no identity on defense. They've changed. I don't know if you guys have seen this. They've literally changed their defensive game plan like 5 times so far this season already.
Mm-hmm. They were playing zone. I was crying.
It's shocking. It is truly shocking because it doesn't seem like what's his name? I'm forgetting his name all of a sudden. Their head coach,
Adrian Griffin.
Adrian Griffin.
Dude
has no idea what he's doing.
He has no clue what he's doing.
Ooh.
And a thing that we had alluded to talking to, and I actually don't think we ever talked about this thing that we had discussed talking about. But it was the Terry Stotts resigning before the season even started. That means something. If you have a guy who's been in the league and been a head coach before, you get him as your head assistant coach, and he literally resigns before the first regular season game has even started, there's something going on. And I think this team is showing it. Adrian Griffin is, for everything, and Brad, both of you and I made a lot of fun of Darvin Ham last season and still to this day, but especially in the beginning of last season. Adrian Griffin is there right now. He is in the ham zone. He's truly in the ham zone. And it's a worse version of the Darvin Ham zone, I think, just because it really doesn't seem like this dude knows what he's doing. And I think if we're going to point fingers at Adrian Griffin, I actually think we should redirect those at Giannis, because this is all Giannis's decision-making here. He was the one that got Coach Bud fired, which, again, I will say, I still think is a good choice. Coach Bud was not the guy for them, even though he took them to a title. But that being said, this guy is making Coach Bud look like we need to go get this guy back right now. Tomorrow, we need Coach Bud.
Grass is greener on the other side.
What do you guys think, man? I'm very, very, I don't want to say worried because I honestly don't care if they win, but I would be worried if I was a Bucks fan, personally.
If I was a Bucks fan, I would be, that SpongeBob meme where he's just like in the office running around with everything burning down. That's how I would feel. They're 13th in offensive rating right now and 25th in defensive rating. 25th. They're worse than they're as much as we hate on the Mavericks defense, they're currently worse than the Mavericks. They are currently worse than the Bulls defensively.
Yeah, they don't rebound either.
They don't rebound either.
Like 7-footers up almost.
Yeah, I mean, it's just disappointing because I think the other issue that we're seeing here too is that, and again, it kind of goes back to the Warriors point that I made earlier that we were talking about. Like, you got Giannis, scoring 30 a game. You got Lillard who's scoring 24, but then after that, like, I know that those guys are going to take up most of the shot attempts. Those are the guys that are going to be doing a lot of the things, but. Chris Middleton I think he still needs to work himself back into basketball shape because, he hasn't really looked like himself out there lately. And maybe that's just them trying to get used to each other. But man, it is weird to see that the Milwaukee Bucks are not playing defense like we know that we've seen them play defense before. And I think that should worry a lot of Bucks fans that are in the area because, man, it is this. We talked about this year. Like we thought that this team was going to be a title contending team, and so far, they
still
will be.
probably are.
They still are, and I think it's going to take them time. But maybe with with the combination of the defense, maybe as some of you like to point out, Adrian Griffin, that might be something to continue to look at and monitor.
I don't even think they're a title contender anymore, to be honest, because you can't. Defense wins championships, and with a defense like this, you can't even be close to sniffing one. And they don't even. They're not like the Lakers where they actually like have good defensive personnel. Like they really like Pete. You're right. I tweeted the other day, like calling Damian Lillard a traffic cone on defense would be an insult to a traffic cone.
I agree.
He is so bad.
Stays in the way.
Yeah. Yes, like he is so bad. All their lineups
just run by.
Literally, absolutely. Did you see that? I know it was a long shot, but Cam Thomas hit a shot from the logo in his eye, and it's just like an encapsulation of Damian Lillard playing defense. Like he just doesn't even have a hand up. If you at least have a hand up, maybe he doesn't make that shot. But you just can't. I don't know how you construct a roster around this guy. I mean, it's possible, but they just don't have the pieces. Like Middleton is Klay Thompson of the East. So
that's truth. You actually stole that right out of my brain. I was going to say that. He really is.
He's done, man. That team, I don't think you can rely on him as a third option. Malik Beasley as a starting two guard is crazy. No defense there. Their bench, they have zero bench depth. Like zero, none. Campaign should not be getting minutes as your backup PG. I'm sorry. Respect to Campaign.
Minutes of China. Honestly, Campaign is rough to watch, man. He
is a
nightmare.
Yeah, it's terrible. It's just bad all around. And then you add in Adrian Griffin, new coach. I don't know how this team is supposed to be a contender. They're lucky Giannis signed that extension. They have time to figure it out with Lillard, but this year, I think they're cooked food.
Oof. Oh yeah. Well, I also think one thing too, and this shined a huge light on how absurd it was that Brook Lopez was almost Defensive Player of the Year last year. No offense to Brook Lopez, he's a solid role player, way above average role player. That being said, it was a joke that he was in consideration for Defensive Player of the Year last year, and this is completely demonstrating that. He was literally the last line of defense on a great defensive team. Of course he was going to look great, right? But now that I think the most ironic part of this is that they hamstrung themselves by getting rid of like their identity in Drew Holiday. I know he's not their identity, but they're defensive. Like I always felt like at the end of the day, the Bucks were solid consistently because they had such a high defensive floor. Like they could put clamps on just about any team if they wanted with Giannis and Drew. What they did is basically they got rid of that for themselves and gave it to Boston. They just said, you know what? We don't want that. Here you go, Boston. You can do that. You can be the defensive team. Because really, this team, in trying to overcome the Celtics, I think made the Celtics just considerably better than them. Like the Celtics are such a bad matchup for the Milwaukee Bucks as is right now that I actually I can't go so far as to say they're not championship contenders. But if they run up against the Celtics, they're cooked. They have no chance against the Boston Celtics, in my opinion. And even more so if they went up against Denver somehow in the championship.
Denver's
in the
cooking
finals. Denver is frying the Milwaukee Bucks. It's not even close. I have to give something still. Like, I think Giannis is such a game changer on defense that, like, they still have potential to get it together on that side of the court. He's so impactful as a defender that I think he can single-handedly raise their ship just a little bit. But they again, another team that desperately needs to do something. They desperately need to make a move. But what are they going to do, though?
Yeah,
I don't even think they can do.
They need to go get Caruso. I'm a little off the ledge with them. They're not a contender, but it just looks so bad, man. They lost to the Pacers when Giannis dropped 54. I was sick.
Yeah, they were getting cooked by the Pacers too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But if they could get Caruso, that would help for sure.
That Malik Beasley clip will live rent free in my head.
I can't, guys. That clip has been living. It's been living in my brain on replay since I watched it. That is one of the most embarrassing clips I've seen in a long time. Wesley Johnson has he's risen from the dead to say thank you to Malik Beasley. I
Oh
don't
my
know if you guys remember
gosh. Yeah, yeah,
that
I know.
crossed over by James Harden.
Yeah.
Like that is one of the more embarrassing clips I've seen since that. Because he was seeing ghosts and he wasn't even seeing the ghosts. He was imagining the ghosts on like a
Yeah.
screen that was never coming. There was no
Yeah.
footsteps. Oh my god. That was wild.
Yeah. But yeah, let us know in the comment section down below. What do you guys make of the Milwaukee Bucks? Are they finished? Do you guys think that they can still win a championship? Do you guys think that they're championship contenders? Or do you agree with Brad that they are officially out of that category? Let us know in the comment section down below.